Ukraine. Europe on its own on security convention. As we look around us, it is clear there is no room for more illusions. Putin used the peace dividend to prepare for this war. As a result, the world is as dangerous as it has been for generations. Russia's brutal war of aggression against Ukraine is now in its third year and is more entrenched and intense than ever. We are seeing the potency and the dangers of a rising and disturbing league of authoritarians. North Korea is delivering order after order of ammunition shells to Russia. And Iran is providing attack drones and, crucially, also the technology behind them to inflict untold damage on Ukrainian cities and citizens. The continuing war in Gaza and the large-scale destabilization in the Middle East point to an era of insecurity and conflict in the region and beyond. And we are also seeing the continued rise of aggressive economic competition and distortion, which brings with it some very real European security risks. So, to put it as bluntly as outgoing President Niinistö of Finland did last month, Europe has to wake up, and I would add urgently. We all know there is so much at stake here, our freedom and our prosperity, and we have to start acting like it. We need to start working on the future of the European security architecture in all of its dimensions and with all of the speed and political will that is required, because the truth is we have not been living with conflict merely since 2022, but for far longer. The threats to our security and prosperity and our way of life come in many different forms, and we all know them. Some of them are obvious, some of them are hazier on the surface, be it tackling political interference, reducing our dangerous dependency, a policy that I've called de-risking, or be it eliminating hostile actors from our critical infrastructure. We Europeans must be on guard. This is not just about defeating bullies on the battlefield, but across all our societies. The good news is we have started a lot of that work already. In fact, the last years have not only served to shatter some European illusions, but they have also shattered many illusions about Europe. That our unity would not hold in the face of a war on our continent, or that our rules and divisions would hold us back in providing massive financial, military and political support. Well, over the last 2 years, Europe has shown and proven that it will support Ukraine for as long as it takes. And we have also shown and proven that a more sovereign Europe is not just wishful thinking. And at this point, let me be very clear. European sovereignty will make our partnerships stronger. It will never affect the importance and the need for our NATO alliance. In fact, a more sovereign Europe, in particular on defence, is vital to strengthening NATO. And that is why I am pleased with the news that Sweden will soon become NATO ally, and I want to congratulate Sweden under the leadership of Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson on the historic step for this country. At its core, European sovereignty is about taking responsibility ourselves for what is vital and even existential for us. It is about our ability, but also about our willingness to defend our interests and values ourselves. And this is what leaders agreed with the Versailles Agenda just after the start of the war. to reduce our strategic dependencies in critical areas like energy, like key technologies, you remember the semiconductors, economic capacities, and, of course, defense. Member states have stepped up. Just last week, the naval mission Aspides was launched to protect against the direct threat to the freedom of navigation that serves as a bedrock of global trade in one of the world's most critical waterways. And member states have stepped up their defense spending too. Their national defense budgets have already risen by 20% from last year. And NATO has just announced that it expects 18 of its members to beat the 2% defense spending target this year. That is up from only 3 members a decade ago. And together we are now spending more jointly on common capacities and projects between Europeans. The European Peace Facility has mobilized 6.1 billion euro to support the Ukrainian armed forces with lethal and non-lethal military equipment and supplies. The European Defence Fund is investing in high-end defence capabilities in critical areas, such as naval, ground or air combat, space-based early warning systems or cyber. And we have taken big steps forward in growing our defence, industrial and manufacturing capacities. In the next weeks, we will announce award decisions under the ASAP programme, and this funding will enable us to roughly double European ammunition production to over 2 million shells a year by the end of 2025. Honourable members, all of this progress shows that Europe has started to grasp the urgency and the scale of the challenge that is ahead of us. But there is a lot more to do, and we need to move fast. The threat of war may not be imminent, but it is not impossible. And the risks of war should not be overblown, but they should be prepared for. And that starts with the urgent need to rebuild, replenish, and modernize member states' armed forces. And in doing so, Europe should strive to develop and manufacture the next generation of battle-winning operational capabilities, and to ensure it has sufficient quantity of material and the technological superiority that we may need in the future. That means turbocharging our defence industrial capacity in the next 5 years. At the heart of this must be a simple principle. Europe must spend more, spend better, spend European. We will put forward some proposals in the next weeks with the first ever European industrial defence strategy. One of the central aims of the strategy and the European Defence Investment Programme that will come with it will be to prioritise defence joint procurement, just as we did it very successfully with the vaccines or, for example, with natural gas. And this will help us reduce fragmentation and increase interoperability. But to do this, we must collectively send a strong signal to industry. And this is why we will look at how to facilitate, for example, offtake agreements. They need security and the knowledge that the products will be taken off. Or, for example, advance purchase agreements where we provide guarantees. This would give our defence industry companies very stable orders and, most importantly, predictability in the long run. We will increase support for industrial ramp-up, as we are now doing with the ammunition with ASAP. We will identify European defence projects of common interest to focus efforts and resources where it has the biggest impact and added value. And we will focus on innovation to ensure Europe has that edge in the new technologies, which we see being deployed across the world in different continents. This must be a truly European effort. And that is why I am proud to announce that we will set up an Office for Defence Innovation in Kyiv. This will bring Ukraine ever closer to Europe, and it will enable all member states to draw on Ukraine's battlefield experience and expertise in industrial defence innovation. Honourable members, making this step together on defence will not be easy. It will require bold decisions and political courage, and it will require, above all, a new European defence mindset from institutions to industries to investors. That is why I'm very encouraged by the words of President Calvino that the EIB is ready to do more to contribute to joint projects that boost the European defence industry. And I really call now on member states to endorse this proposal. Defence industry in Europe needs access to capital. And I would like to encourage our public and private lenders to support our defence industry and, in particular, small and medium enterprises. Also in defence, small and medium enterprises are the backbone of our industry. They are the driver of innovation and a critical factor in the single market. And the topic needs undivided attention. And this is why I'm personally supportive of a designated defence commissioner for the next Commission. And beyond that, I would like us to think bigger. It is time to start a conversation about using the windfall profits of frozen Russian assets to jointly purchase military equipment for Ukraine. There could be no stronger symbol and no greater use for that money than to make Ukraine and all of Europe a safer place to live. Honourable members, ultimately, this is about Europe taking responsibility for its own security. The simple truth is, we do not have the luxury of comfort. We do not have the control of elections or decisions in other parts of the world. We simply do not have the time to skirt around the issue. With or without the support of our partners, we cannot let Russia win. And the cost of insecurity, the cost of a Russian victory, is far greater than any saving we could make now. And this is why it is time for Europe to step up. Long live Europe.
Thank you very much. Now we go to the speakers of the political groups, starting with the President of the EPP Group, Manfred Weber.
President Metsola, von der Leyen, Council, dear colleagues, as EPP we are first of all happy to have the debate today, such an upgraded top-level debate about the defence union. EPP was